Hi, Jim. Thank you very much for taking part of your busy time for this video interview.
It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. You know that the LPI-Japan was formed about 13 years ago in Japan, obviously. And at that time, many people in IT industry, including myself, were not sure how to pronounce a new term, which was spelled as Linux. And some people felt that the correct pronunciation should be Linux. Some people felt Linux, and obviously Linux. But after 13 years, as many of us know, that the Linux became, so to speak, de facto standard operating systems from embedded to supercomputers. And it would be appreciated if you could let us know, why do you think that the Linux became so popular in many segments?
Right.
And if you happen to have some data as to how popular in the Linux is in several selected domains, it would be appreciated.
Sure. Yeah, well, Linux originally started out as a low-cost alternative to Unix. That's where it really started to gain traction. And, over the last, since LPI has been around, which obviously LPI was very early in the Linux market, but since then there have been sort of several seminal events that have propelled Linux ahead in a way that no other operating system has ever done. I mean, obviously, when IBM in 2000 invested in Linux in the enterprise, that became a big part of the reason that Linux really began to make inroads into enterprise computing and really began replacing a lot of proprietary Unix with a low-cost solution.
That was the time around when Louis Gassner became the president of IBM.
Correct.
He changed the course of IBM from IBM own OS strategy to Linux strategy.
Right. I mean, I think their idea was that the power of collaborative development could help them create this incredible operating system at a significantly lower cost. And that would help them compete with companies like Microsoft and Sun Microsystems. And in fact, history has borne that out to be a very effective strategy for IBM. I mean, Sun Microsystems, for example, doesn't exist anymore. And what had happened over time is, in the enterprise, Linux changed from a low-cost alternative, because it's obviously free, to really a better technical solution. And that's when, when Linux sort of surpassed Unix, not only in terms of better cost and price, but in terms of better performance and functionality. I mean, it obviously accelerated Linux growth. And so, Linux, because of the form of development, this collaborative development model, this rapid model development, that was one of the main reasons why in the enterprise it grew quite quickly. What is interesting, though, I think, about Linux is that it's one of the few operating systems that has been able to leap from one sector of information technology to another, from enterprise servers to embedded devices, from embedded devices to high-performance computing and supercomputing, from supercomputing to mobile handsets. Linux has done that in a way that no other operating system has done.
Even though many companies try to expand their OS from, as you said, embedded to HPC, but they didn't succeed as Linux did.
And I think the reason for that is because the nature of Linux development is one of the secrets to its success. In addition to being great technology, the fact that Linux is developed in open source, the fact that anybody can participate in the development, the fact that anybody can take the software and make anything they want with it, allows for these self-forming communities to be created, for industry to solve their problems freely. And it's impossible, I think, for that to be centrally planned.
Right.
And if you're a proprietary competitor, if you're a product company, if you are trying to compete with that, you have to centrally plan, and it's almost impossible. I mean, could anybody have predicted, the smartphones, 15 years ago, or even maybe 10 years ago, right? And so the fact that Linux can sort of be taken and used by anyone really is a powerful reason for its success. And it has been incredibly successful across all these categories of computing. If you look at embedded systems today, Linux has by far the dominant market share.
That's true.
I think it's really consolidated what was formerly dominated by a variety of RTOSes and things like VxWorks, now really has consolidated around Linux. Whether it's white goods, refrigerators, and appliances, or televisions or radios, Linux has really become this de facto standard.
Right. Yes.
That has also extended into the mobile area, in the area of cell phones and smartphones. 1.3 million Linux-based phones are sold every single day.
Wow.
Every single day.
Wow.
There are billions of Linux smartphones out there because Android, the Google platform, is based on Linux.
Right.
And that movement towards Android in the mobile space has really created tremendous support from chip manufacturers, from device manufacturers, because there's such volume in the mobile space. Every system on a chip vendor, whether it's ARM or MIPS or Intel, you name it, they all natively support Linux. And so Linux is becoming this de facto standard because it has a network effect based on all the hardware availability for Linux. Again, this continues to extend itself into tablets. It continues to extend itself into high-performance computing as well. 92% of the world's high-performance computing systems, the CERN Super Collider, weather forecasting systems, all of these run on Linux. And what's even more interesting is this: as the technology proliferates across all these other segments of computing, not the original enterprise segment, Linux is reinforcing its move into creating more network effects into those additional markets by allowing one segment of IT to benefit another segment. Let me give you an example. When a mobile device manufacturer submits a patch to Linux or makes a change in the operating system in open source because they want a longer battery life, that's a power management feature. Well, that same improvement is used by a high-performance computing user because it's the exact same code. And the number one cost in high-performance computing is power and cooling. It's not the hardware, it's not the software. So you can see how this cross-proliferation of ideas, this exchange of ideas is extremely powerful and self-reinforcing. And so what this is doing is just allowing Linux to expand in all these forms of computing. And now, even when we kind of return back to the enterprise, right? What we're seeing in the enterprise is a change in the entire architecture of computing towards a services-based model, right? Cloud computing is the hot buzzword today. In cloud computing, the vast majority of public clouds, Amazon, Rackspace, NTT, all of these public clouds, they're based on Linux and open source. And we've kind of gone from an imitator of Unix in the past, this low-cost solution in the past, to now an innovator of new technologies because people are taking the software and doing things nobody ever, 13 years ago, I don't think you would have ever predicted they're doing. But it really is establishing Linux as this cornerstone of really every sector of technology.
It's amazing that even though these, so to speak, subgroup or subcommunity, some of them are for embedded, some of them are for supercomputer, still they share the same knowledge and set of code programs.
Yeah.
Despite each organization, subcommittee is empowered to pursue their own goal.
Yeah.
So it's a centralized from a knowledge sharing point of view.
Right.
But from activities point of view, it's a decentralized.
Correct.
And this hybrid is very, very unique.
Yeah, yeah. But it's proven itself to be the most efficient form of creating this technology known to mankind. I mean, you know, Linux is really this existence proof that, you know, collaborative development, that open sharing of ideas, the simple concept that all of us are smarter than any one of us is better. You know, it's really Linux that is whenever anyone talks about how they can improve the pace of innovation in, let's say, the life sciences or other sectors unrelated to computing, they always look to Linux as this example of how you can achieve this incredible pace and breadth of innovation that you see in this field.
I see.